be comparing the current graduation plans, and if I refer to them as the old, just know that it's still the current, and then the new graduation plans. So taking a look, so we have our current graduation plans. We have the minimum, which is 22 high school credits. That is typically the plan in which students, their senior year, if they have to fall back on this plan, that is the plan that they fall back to. Everyone enters high school on the recommended high school program, which is 26 credits. Other students may step it up to say, I would like to be a Distinguished Achievement Program graduate. So the new plans. So our new plans mandated under House Bill 5, our incoming freshmen are required to graduate under these new plans, and it is optional for students who are currently in high school. So I don't want to say this is a requirement. We're going to ask that you think about what is in your best interest, think about where you are and where you need to go. And again, that is going to be a personal decision in which only you as a family can answer. So very similar to our minimum plan, which is the Foundation High School program, 22 credits. We have the Foundation High School program with endorsements, that is 26 credits. And we have the Distinguished Level of Achievement, which is also 26 credits. And I will get into each of those and explain. And I will again compare the current plans with the new plans. We'd like to think of this as a 3-tier level. The bottom is the Foundation High School program, which is the 22 credits. That's where everybody has to have the same 22 credits. Then above that, we have the endorsements. The endorsements add some additional components, for example, a math, a science, and some endorsement requirements. Then above that, we have the Distinguished Level of Achievement, also 26 credits. The difference between the middle level, the Foundation with endorsements, and the Distinguished Level of Achievement is that the students must take Algebra 2. With that, there are some additional components for our top 10% graduates, and I will get into that on a different slide, but I did want to point that out. So again, think about it in 3 different levels. Okay, we have a comparison, and what I've done is I've taken the minimum high school program and compared it to the Foundation High School program. So we have the current and we have the new. On the right-hand side, I have highlighted several changes. The changes include a half credit in speech. The 3rd level in math, there are some variations when it comes to math. And by the way, I believe the English is maybe highlighted as well. The 4th English for either minimum high school program or foundation, there's some flexibility. So flexibility with the math, there's also flexibility with the science. But I do want to point out to you, rather than having 2 science credits on the minimum, we now have 3 required science credits. There's an academic elective from the minimum high school program, no longer on the foundation. The load, languages other than English, that is a big change. So students on the minimum graduation plan did not have to have any language other than English. Now, students will have to have 2 levels of the same language in a language other than English. Both are 22 credits for each plan. Okay? So in comparison, what does that mean? That means that on the minimum high school program, students could graduate with the 22 credits, but the law stated that they could not go straight to a 4-year university. That changed within this last legislative session. Students now who graduate under the Foundation High School program are considered for admissions into a 4-year university in the state of Texas. So that was a big change. Moving on, we have the recommended high school program versus the Foundation High School program with endorsements. So if you think again, that 3-tiered visual that I had provided, we're talking about the middle section. We're talking now 26 credits. On the right-hand side, again, here's where we have some flexibility in our English 4, whereas on the recommended plan, it stated English 4. Yes, English 4 is an option and an opportunity for our students on the Foundation program with endorsements, but there are other exceptions to that. The same thing with math. Although there are 4 credits, The third and the fourth credits, there's some flexibility in that and what's available to the students. Same thing with science. And then a big change. For social studies, the recommended plan was required of 4 credits, and now students on the foundation high school program with endorsements would be required to only take 3 credits with a choice between either world geography or world history. U.S. history is required, government and economics are required. So again, you have to think about what is going to be best. If we have juniors in this auditorium, they very well could have already completed. If we have sophomores in the auditorium, they may be sitting in world history. So unfortunately, at this time of the year, we are not able to make schedule changes. So if we're sitting in a speech class, if we're sitting in a world history class, the time for schedule changes has passed. Actually, the new plans do not go into effect until next year. So I'm sorry to disappoint anybody if y'all were thinking that way, but possibly freshmen may have some choices to deal with. So I reiterate this speech is no longer required, but I want to take a moment to indicate that although it's not a requirement for graduation purposes, there are 3 components now with the House Bill 5 that was in the final rule on Friday. 1 being the credits. The students must meet the graduation credits. 2, the state assessment requirements, so the STAR EOCs. And 3, the students will have to demonstrate proficiency, whether it be in verbal communications, nonverbal communications, or listening skills. That is something that the district has yet to be determined how we will measure that, how we will roll that out. Again, they did put that in the last minute on Friday, so we've not had the opportunity to discuss. So if you're thinking, okay, I don't have to have that speech requirement or that speech credit, still think about there would be opportunities for you to demonstrate proficiency in speech. The final thing here on this slide is for elective endorsement requirements. And I will talk about the endorsements individually. Think about the requirements and components that go along with those endorsement requirements. Okay, so next, we're going to compare the Distinguished Achievement Program, which is the current graduation plan, versus the Distinguished Level of Achievement. So that word distinguished is in both, and I can understand how it can be a little bit confusing, but we do have some differences in what the requirements are. Again, I reiterate the differences in your English, your fourth English, your math, your sciences, the social studies, and I go back to those core, English, math, science. The flexibility on what the opportunities are versus we know that we must take English 1, 2, 3, and 4 for our current plans. We know that we must take Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, and a fourth math on the current plans. So there are there's flexibility is how I can describe it best. Social studies, again, we go from 4 credits down to 3. The LOTE requirement, this is a big change, going from level 3 credits of the same language, down to 2. The speech requirement, again, has changed, meaning from a half credit to 0. The endorsement electives are still there. And the current Distinguished Achievement Program, on the left-hand side at the bottom, you do see advanced measures. So those advanced measures are required components in addition to meeting graduation requirements. And the students must meet 4 of those in order to be a Distinguished Achievement Program graduate. Okay, on the next slide we have the Distinguished Achievement Program versus House Bill 5. Again, those 4 advanced measures must be earned in order to graduate as a DAP graduate. Under House Bill 5, there's what is called performance acknowledgments. These performance acknowledgments will be placed upon the transcript. So if we go to the next slide, we can see the outline of the requirements for the performance acknowledgments. We have dual credit, and what I don't have up here, because it is so finely detailed that Dual credit, that means 12 hours with a B or better. So there are further distinctions that I may not have mapped out here on the PowerPoint again because of so many details, so I kept it simple. There's a bilingualism and biliteracy. Advanced placement exams, the state did decide to say 3 or better. We'll give it a performance acknowledgement. Through the PSAT, ACT plan, SAT or ACT. And finally, recognizing the workforce readiness. Those students who may have earned a business or industry certificate or a license. So they will be recognized as well. Again, that is going to be placed upon the student's transcript. All right, moving on to our DAP scholars. So currently, the current plan, Distinguished Achievement Program, students are recognized with an award. At the end of the senior year, they would receive a medallion that looks like this. They can wear this at graduation. They also get recognized in the commencement program and that they are a DAP scholar. Some colleges may acknowledge DAP graduates, such as Texas A&M. This is the only college that I've heard that makes a difference between students. If you're comparing side by side, you have a student on the recommended plan versus a student on the Distinguished Achievement Program, they're going to look for who has done the extra work, who's gone the extra mile. So they would give the student on the DAP program a step above the student on the recommended. Okay, next, continuing on to the distinguished level of achievement. Again, making sure that you understand distinguished level of achievement is a required credit in addition to meeting the foundation high school program with the endorsements. The Algebra 2 is the only required credit for this new plan. There's the additional component for students who graduate in the top 10% of their class and who are on the distinguished level of achievement will be granted automatic admissions for colleges in the state of Texas, public colleges, for that automatic admissions policy. Whereas before, and I'll get to that slide in just 1 minute, it does say for the top 10%. However, at UT, we do know that this year's seniors, it's the top 7%, and that may fluctuate from year to year, depending upon what UT assigns. Okay, so the recommended high school program and the DAP, we know currently anyone who is in the top 10% would be eligible for automatic college admissions in the state of Texas. So the change is, for the new plans, the student will have to be on distinguished level of achievement, versus before it did not matter which plan, either recommended or distinguished, that you were graduating under. Okay, so I know a question. I'm trying to anticipate what's in your minds, what you're thinking, and suppose that you are on the recommended high school program currently. What is the difference between that and the distinguished level of achievement? Well, we do know that the social studies, there is a change, the speech is a change, and the endorsements options for the electives. Other than that, really not much change. But if you look at the next slide, I've done some research. I took the 2013 graduates in CCISD, just our most recent graduates, looked at the top 20 colleges that our students were applying to, and tried to look at what requirements for admissions into those particular colleges. So as you go down the list, you can see 4 English credits are required out of all 20 colleges. You can see for math, it varies, 3 to 4. Science, same thing, 3 to 4. Social studies, about the same. And then varies from 2 to all the way up to 4. I want to point out to you in parentheses, the parentheses means that is recommended by the college. Required is the number that stands alone, and that is first, but then behind that in parentheses would be what the colleges are recommending. So keep that in mind as you are thinking through What about my plan? What is that going to do, and how will that impact my future? Because every decision that you make may impact down the road, and we want you to take careful consideration before making a decision that could impact you further. I want to also make a special little note that although you could get into the college of your choice for college admissions, the major of your choice may have some higher level rigor and requirements that are not spelled out on this chart. So that is something that you may have to look further into and do that research. All right, so how will colleges recognize the Foundation High School program, the endorsements, and the DLA? Currently, we do not have any data to support that as we are starting out fresh and we have not had any graduates. We don't know if in the future, if we say that, for example, an endorsement such as STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, would help me in getting into the College of Engineering. We don't know that. What we do know is that colleges will continue to evaluate the transcripts, the courses in which students take, the grades that they earn in these classes, along with their test scores, and of course their academic resume. What other things has the student accomplished? All right, so I'd like to point out to you next, for any student athletes, NCAA eligibility requirements for whether it be D1 or D2, students must meet 16 core courses, 10 of which, for our current sophomores, have to be met before the senior year. As you think about core courses, you automatically think English, math, science, social studies. But what you might not see here, and that I want to explain to you, is that some of the flexibility in the English, math, and science that I had pointed out to you may not be an approved course on the NCAA eligibility list. So again, making those decisions may impact future determinations. All right, so I'm going to dig a little bit further into what is an endorsement. I know Dr. Smith explained, but as we know it today, these are various pathways. Following your passion, figuring out what it is that you would like to do, courses that you would like to take, and the state has grouped these courses in various programs called endorsements. So if we look at the first one is STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The required courses are Algebra 2, chemistry, and physics, in addition to the Foundation High School program. So the 22 credits we had talked about, we know that the students must take that Algebra 2, chemistry, and physics, which means, if you recall, the Algebra 2 automatically puts the students on what is called the Distinguished Level of Achievement on this endorsement. The courses would come directly from the STEM cluster. So we're talking about our Project Lead the Way courses, any kind of technology classes, science classes, and advanced course math courses above Algebra 2. What I'm not going to necessarily point out to you here, but we do have some things expressed in detail that we're going to be adding to the web. For instance, the educational planning guides. In the educational planning guide that your student will receive here in the next 2 weeks for course registration, information has been placed in here. However, I will say that because we printed these in December, I knew that the information would be outdated. So bear with me. We will have the excerpts posted on the website for any corrected information. All right, so again, the first endorsement is the STEM. Behind that is the business and industry. We do know that we have to have an additional math and an additional science. That means 4 math classes and 4 science classes. We have 10 career clusters in which to choose from. Those courses in the business and industry endorsement would be directly related to the CTE career clusters that you see here in the middle of the screen, or debate courses, or newspaper courses, or yearbook courses. Okay, next screen. We have our public services. The required courses again are math and science. additional math and science. We have our career clusters, which is the education, the health science, and the human services, such as the cosmetology courses. On education, it would be the education and training. The health science, all of our HST courses, anatomy and physiology, anything directly related to health science. So the courses to be taken under the public services, CTE career clusters, or students who are in the JROTC program, they would have a route that they would take under this endorsement. Okay, followed by the arts and humanities endorsement. Again, an additional math and science credit are required. Little asterisk there that states students who wish to substitute their for science on the arts and humanities endorsement may do so. They would substitute for any course in ELA, social studies, languages other than English, or fine arts. And again, before making any decisions to say we don't want to take that for science because it interferes with the pathway that I'm focused on, and yes, we may have a fine arts student that is solely devoted to their fine arts, but again, we want to make sure that reducing that science requirement, if the student chooses to do so, with parent permission, could impact, their future. So thinking about that next step in life, what does that mean? Where do I want to go? And do I have the requirements in which to do that? All right, so courses would be directly related to social studies, languages other than English, or your fine arts courses. The fifth endorsement, the last one here, is multidisciplinary studies. And this could be a conglomeration of various things. Again, we have to have the additional math and science credit. It would include courses directly related to advanced courses. What is an advanced course? We do know that it's a course that would prepare the student for the workforce or for post-secondary education. What we have not spelled out, because the state did determine on Friday that districts will determine what are advanced courses. They also allowed for the districts to determine what is a sequence, a coherent sequence in any of these pathways, any of these endorsements. And again, since the information is so fresh and so new, we've not had an opportunity to come together to make those determinations, but we will be doing that fairly soon. The next one is the 4x4, which includes students must have the English 4, chemistry, and or physics. So a 4x4, which is very similar to what you're on for English, math, science, and social studies. And the final one for multidisciplinary studies would be advanced placement or dual credit. And they are in certain fields, for example, in English, math, science, social studies, LOTE, and fine arts. So I know this is a lot of information. You're trying to figure out how to make this connect. How am I going to understand? Because my next door neighbor may not have the same passions that I have. And why would I choose something that my neighbor is doing just because they're doing it? So I want to make sure that it is meaningful to me, and making sure that I have exhausted all of my efforts to make sure that the decisions are the right ones. So on the district's website, we have our Naviance button right there in the middle. The little arrow points to it. And on the next slide, we have some various components of the Naviance. And hopefully you've heard about Naviance. Hopefully you've been working in that tool. It goes way beyond what's on the slide here, but I just wanted to point out to you something that can help you have an understanding of what your interests are, what your passions are. And students will be updating their 4-year plan. In Naviance, they will, in 9th grade, if they've not already done so, complete their career interest profiler. 10th graders do the Do What You Are personality profiler. The Career Cluster Survey Finder is a good one. That was something that was recently added this year to the program. That is a wonderful tool in which to help narrow down the choices for the career clusters, in which I had just mentioned about the endorsements. Also, the Strengths Explorer. The Strengths Explorer is something that's brand new, so I put any grade level for that. Those two go hand in hand. The Strengths Explorer along with the Career Cluster Survey Finder. followed by, you can do many, many investigations through careers. You can look at the Road Trip Nation, and the list goes on and on. But as parents, we want to make sure that you are involved in your students' choices and that you understand that, again, these decisions that they are making are the right ones. We also want to make sure that parents understand that there is an opportunity for, in that 4-year plan, we're going to ask that parents approve their 4-year plans in Naviance. It's a piece of what is called the personal graduation plan, because every single student in high school will have a personal graduation plan. In addition to the 4-year plan, again, that's going to include goal setting. So the students are going to do what is called my game plan. My game plan is, what can we think about? What are my goals for post-secondary? What's going to happen to me after graduation? There's another opportunity for other additional goal setting, and that is in the success planner. And those goals that the students will set are based upon their academic goals, their career goals, and their personal and social goals, which I'm sure they have many of those, right? Okay, so again, I encourage parents, if you do not have a Naviance account, please contact your campus counselor. Please get signed up. Please get logged in, because within the next few months, there's going to be an email that comes out to you automatically. When your student goes in to update their 4-year plan, it's going to shoot the parent an email to say, please review. Let's talk about this. Let's either make some changes, or I approve completely. Okay. So, question comes in as far as, will I be able to switch endorsements? The answer is yes. So students, as they are coming in, again, 8th graders coming into 9th grade are mandated to choose an endorsement. They will be picking that within the next couple of weeks, turning in their course registration materials. Every year the student has the opportunity to review and update their 4-year plan. So they do this every year for 4 years. I would have to say that switching an endorsement may be limited as the student grows older. So for juniors who have been planning all along, they may not have the right endorsement electives per se to graduate with the foundation high school program with endorsements. We want to make sure, again, that everything can be met, whether that is on the current graduation plans or under the foundation high school program with endorsements. So the next question, multiple endorsements. Will my student be able to graduate with multiple endorsements? As I see it, because there are so many different electives and there are general electives within each endorsement opportunity, that yes, there are students that are going to be graduating with multiple endorsements. However, the state says right now a district shall clearly indicate an endorsement on the transcript or academic achievement record of a student who satisfies the applicable requirements. As of right now, that tells me 1. In the near future, I'm not sure if the state is going to allow for us to do multiple. That's something that has not been provided by the state, so I can't answer that. All right, so the next question. GPA. How will this affect my GPA? How can I graduate with the new plans or the old plans with a higher GPA, depending upon the courses that I take? I will tell you that under the Foundation High School program, any of the 22 credits, including elective choices, have level 1 GPA courses. Level 1 meaning pre-AP, AP, and advanced academics. I will also tell you that the endorsements, every single one of the endorsements, have level 1 GPA courses in which to choose from. So please don't think that you might be restricted. But at the same time, if you follow your current plans, that may look very similar to if you were to switch. So again, we're not telling you to take a whole new set of classes. We're telling you to take what you would like and follow your passion. Because actually the students, when they take courses that they are interested in, they're going to make higher grades. That's the research. That's proven research. What I can encourage you to do is take the courses that will challenge you the most, that provide the most rigor, and not taking the easy way out or cutting yourself short. We also want to make sure that we maintain a good balance. We know that our students do many, many activities. So a student who may choose to take many level 1 GPA courses, faced with lots of evening activities, staying up all night and studying, we want to make sure that we maintain that good balance. All right, so current graduation plans. Again, I emphasize, students in this room have been building their plans since 8th grade. They've probably been earning some credits since 7th or 8th grade. And they're working toward their graduation requirements. Not to say that they have to change, they can still continue on this path. Again, take the courses that are going to be most interesting for you. And what we want to make sure that we do is provide a seamless transition for whatever that post-secondary opportunity is, from you to graduate and move on beyond high school. All right, so our next steps. Within the next 2 weeks, we have our course registration information. We will have campus parent nights with incoming freshmen. We will have the course fairs that all student body would be invited to attend. And so I can honestly say that our counselors are working hard. They're going into the classrooms, they're delivering all of the information to our students. They're going down to the intermediates for the incoming 9th graders. And so in the next 2 weeks, busy with the course registration process. Beyond that, the following 2 weeks are devoted to the self-serve process, and that is where the students come back in, they load their courses, they'll probably fill out their 4-year plan during that opportunity, and so I can say that it's a busy time. It's a busy time of the year, so please be patient. If you are thinking that the new graduation plans is something for you, or your student, or your child, then yes, we would like to hear from you. However, again, please be patient. Counselors are going to be out of their offices quite a bit in the next month. So it may be the month of March. Bear with us. The students do have the right to change if they plan to do so, but the registration information will not be coming out in a nice pretty package to say, here is this endorsement on your course registration sheet. It's going to currently be the recommended and distinguished programs as they are now. So whether you plan to stay the course or make the adjustment, that would have to be discussed individually with your counselor, possibly shooting them an email to let them know heads up, and then as soon as they can get to you, they will definitely make that contact back with you. So give a shout out to my counselors. It is National School Counseling Week, and so if you see your counselor, just stop by and wish them a happy counseling week.